Hey everybody, iMagic here, and I'm here today with my FLOOWANDEREEZE deck profile. So, as you know, recently went to the UK National WCQ event and was able to come into the top cut with this FLOOWANDEREEZE deck profile. I'm going to give you the exact deck profile that I took, so being the main deck, extra deck, and side deck as well, and I'll kind of explain some of my choices. I have made some changes to the deck going forward, kind of after seeing what did work, didn't work, and what I'd like to have seen in the deck. But I will explain them changes going forward in the deck profile. But let's start things off. Starting things off with the bigger monsters. I've got here my deck sheet, by the way, just so this is what I took to the National. So it's the exact deck profile. With everything correct to the ratio. It saves me having to dig out the deck because it has been put away into storage right now because I've been kind of focusing on building other decks. Yeah, I want to have a bit more of a fun time with Yu-Gi-Oh for the next couple of weeks because I have just done the big tournament that I've been working towards for a long time, so it's going to be more fun decks for the next couple of weeks. But you will be kept informed about what's going on, as I have got a new series coming up soon, which you will see in the next video. But yeah, let's go right into the deck profile. Starting off with the big monsters, I've got one of each of these. I've got one Riser Mega Monarch, one Apex Avian, and one M-Pen. Reason why I went for one is because I didn't want to brick seeing them in my hand. M-Pen being your kind of skill drain for anything special summoned and in attack position. Riser just being able to kind of reset your opponent's board, clear away big threats, and Apex Avian being your Omni Negate. You kind of needed all three of these. These are very good cards, definitely worth having them. You can't skip out on any of them. A lot of people go to M-Pen, but I wanted to go for one because I didn't want to constantly see it. And with Stree and Toucan, you can keep recycling them. Going into the smaller birds, I have got 3 Rabina, 3 Eglin, 1 Toucan, and 1 Stree. So Rabina being your searcher for your smaller monsters, Eglin being your searcher for your big monsters, Stree being able to banish anything from your or your opponent's graveyard, and Toucan being able to retrieve a FLOOWANDEREEZE card that is in the banished zone. All of these you definitely need to have. You just want to get as many as your birds as possible, but with the Stree and the Toucan, because they're not plussing you in advantage if you're opening it turn 1, that's why I wanted to limit it so I can search them off the Rabina. You have many ways to search your all your monsters anyway with so much draw power, so that's kind of why I went down this route of going for literally 1 and 1. I know some people play 2 Stree, some people play 2 Toucan, but I felt comfortable with the 1 and 1 and I'm not changing that, and it worked, so you can't go wrong. With the rest of just like the smaller winged beast monsters that aren't the big ones, 1 Harpy's Harpist. It's a compulse as long as you return another winged beast back to your hand, but you always will because you search off Rabina, so that's on the field. And a barrier statue of the Stormwinds. Just that plus M-Pen, a lot of people can't break that and they will then go straight into game 2. Really good against most boards your opponent's going to face. But yeah, but that's it for the monsters. Quickly going into the hand traps, I've got 3 D-Shifter, 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, and 1 DD Crow. D-Shifter, you do not care about anything being in the graveyard. It literally everything banishes. It's part of the gimmick, so play 3 of it. It stops your opponent really well. Ash, I put in there because I did kind of think I should have Ash in there. It's the best generic hand trap to have. And against something like Branded, hitting the Branded Fusion, you can really stop them. It did help me get a game against PK by stopping him from getting his Brave Engine kind of online, which is a difficult engine to face against because not only is the big monster a win to special summon, it's just such an easy way to get 1 Omni Negate to then disrupt you, and then having everything else on top, which they've been able to facilitate because you don't have hand traps. Yeah, but it was able to help me stop a Brave Engine from going through, and I was able to lock them out of the game for game 1, so it is still really worth having an Ash Blossom. And the DD Crow, just the one-off, you can search it from Rabina, it can come up against decks, and yeah, it's a searchable one-off that it's really good. You know, you could up it more if you felt like in the current format it's worth having it. That's possibly so with Drytron winning the event and going around, so I could maybe see a reason to put it up to more, but yeah, definitely 1 for right now. To the spells and traps. I'll start with the FLOOWANDEREEZE spells and traps. I had FLOOWANDEREEZE and the Magnificent Map at 3. 3 FLOOWANDEREEZE and the Advent of Adventure. 1 FLOOWANDEREEZE and the Unexplored Winds. And for the trap, I also had 1 FLOOWANDEREEZE and the Dreaming Town. So map being able to give you a second normal summon, put something in the banish to kind of get your combos going is really, really strong, and allowing you to normal summon on your opponent's turn when they normal summon helps you then kickstart your combos on their turn, locking them out even further. Advent, being a quick play, helps you search out either any of your monsters or or the field spell, which again has a lot of advantage to it. Plus, gaining you 500 life points can help you in time. Being a quick play means it just also stops you from losing to, say, a Effect Veiler or an Imperm, because they Effect Veiler or an Imperm it, you remove it off the field, now the effect goes through and you get an extra search, so it's really good. Dreaming Town kind of helps you mulligan your hand. You can get rid of 2 Winged Beasts, put in the bottom, draw 2, so it does help with that. And also allows you to tribute any of your opponent's card to help towards the cost for a 2 tribute summon, so it's really, really strong in that sense. Against the mirror match as well, you really race towards this card and Apex Avian. You basically want to just tribute whatever your opponent has, being probably the map or their own their own unexplored winds. Bring out an Apex, and you kind of just keep looping them with the negate, resummon, and yeah, that's how you win the mirror match. By the way, if you ever play the mirror match Flew Under, you need to hopefully go second. You want to lose the dice roll, which is funny because you don't know you're in the mirror match. So if you lose dice roll and you're going against the mirror match, you have the game. You have won, because it is really whoever wins game 1, because the side deck, you both take out the same sides, put in the same cards, they will win game 2. You should win game 3 because you know where you're going to be going towards. But yeah, so that's the spells and the trap as well, being able to allow you to normal summon on your opponent's turn, specifically the main phase, summoning out one of the little birds. And then when you normal summon a level 7 or higher Winged Beast monster, you can banish it from the graveyard and Book of Moon your entire opponent's field. So it's really, really good. You only play the Unexplored Winds and the Dreaming Town at 1. You can recycle them, you can easily search them. More specifically, the trap you can keep just recycling, and M-Pen can search any of these cards if you wish, and Advent can search you the map as well. Going into the rest of the spells, I have put in 3 Book of Moon, 3 Pot of Extravagance, 3 Pot of Duality, 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Terraforming, and 1 Mystic Mine. So Book of Moon again stop you losing to Effect Veiler, Imperm. Also can interact with your opponent, so they normal summon something, you know they're going to go into a link play possibly. Book of Moon it, now they can't go into the link plays, same with the synchro plays or Xyz plays. Doesn't work against fusion, but getting 3 out of 4 kind of still works out in your favour, so you can't complain there. But yeah, more specifically stopping you from losing to Effect Veiler and Imperm. And the reason you need to worry about them more is because of the effects of all the birds. You kind of chain block Ash no matter what. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, guaranteed most of the time. So Veiler and Imperm are the hand traps that are going to mess you up. At least game 1 main board. Anything sideboarded, Lancia and Droll, they hurt a lot. Lancia shuts off your consistency to get the rest of it for the later plays. Droll just stops you in your tracks, so you need to hope you open the nuts to kind of just get what you need on the board straight away. Yeah. But we move. 3 Extravagance, I would like to have that as Pot of Prosperity. Just strictly because I'd like to be able to choose what to get rid of, and looking 6 cards deep, all I need is 1 card to kind of get my combos going. So I'd rather have that, but I'm having to play Extravagance because I'm kind of poor. I don't have the money for the Prosperities just yet. So the second I get them, they'll be going straight in. Prosperity means as well you can kind of you can keep engines in your extra deck that you want to hold on to. There are things you do play in your extra deck. It will never come up, but when it could come up, you're going to be grateful it's there. And I'll go over the extra deck in a moment. But yeah, Extravagance, just because you don't really use your extra deck. Of course, Prosperity would be nicer because you get to pick and choose what you do get to keep. Duality, you don't special summon. Everything's normal summon, so might as well go 3 deep and get a card that you do need. Call by the Grave, hand traps, you know, might as well just interact with your opponent's hand traps. Sometimes that Ash Blossom, where they hit it right very first thing, can hurt you, so it's good to have that. Terraforming, you do play 3 other field spells before you play the Mystic Mine, so it is worth having there. But Terraforming and the Mystic Mine is something I took out of the main deck going forward. Mystic Mine, you're playing a control deck, so being able to slow your opponent down is a very good strategy. Having Terraforming in there to search it, which also then helps you plus with the rest of your deck, is not a bad shout. But I do think it kind of... I'd rather get rid of both of them and put in the Harpy's Featherstorm. I took Harpy's Featherstorm out strictly because I felt like that was a specifically going first card. But I have been eating my words because I do realise that if you have it and you are going second, you know, all you need to do is, even if your opponent stops your effects, being able to then just set this card and then just stop them from doing a lot of plays, it still can work for you. It's just a really, really good card. There is no denying it. It is a really good card, and I think it's worth, even though it's more leaning towards going first, it's still worth having in there. So yeah, Mystic Mine and Terraforming were both going to be coming out and put in the Harpy's Featherstorm. So Harpy's Featherstorm was in my side. I did know about it to have in the deck, but I had it in the side deck because I thought if I'm going first, I know immediately this goes straight in, these cards can go straight out, and then if I was going second, other way round, I know, okay, these cards go in, these cards come out. And that's kind of how I worked the deck. Okay, so I have a lot of one-offs for the extra deck, but I'm going to go over all of them and then my reasoning behind them. One, Elder Entity Untis. If your opponent plays anything with Maximus, you want to be able to pop and kind of punish them, and that's going to be the same for a lot of the other cards. I have a Cyber Dragon Nova and one Invoke Mechaba for the same reason. Okay, they will play a Maximus, cool, ditch the Nova effect, summon out the Mechaba. Now you have an Omni-Negate on field, depending on what you have in your hand. You're going to have a lot of spells, you're going to have a lot of monsters, 2 out of 3, the most you're going to have to negate anyway, so that's really good. One, Wind Pegasus Agnista, another one for Maximus, just to compel stuff back to the hand. Works really well against Mirror Jade, so you might as well have it. And in a very tight situation, you can make this. It is a level 7. You play the Ash Blossoms, which are the level 3. You have 2 level 4s being Wind Barrier and the Harpies. It could come up. You might be in... I'm always saying this as it's just a really, really weird coincidence that you could play this. You will never actually summon this card. It is strictly to be in the graveyard to spin back a Mirror Jade or anything with them type of effects. But yeah, funny enough, you can make this because it's a wind as well. If you had Wind Barrier, normal summon Ash Blossom, Synchro 7, boom, you can make it. But it will never come up. We have Lyrillus, Assembled Nightingale. This is to work with one Dowered Magician and Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. So you have 2 level 1s you can easily go into to attack directly. Dowered into Zeus, you have a 2-pop Zeus. It can come up. It has come up. I was able to play an opponent at a locals. I already had one of the level 1s on field. Use the map, normal summon a level 1, no effect, overlay, attack directly, Dowered, Zeus, nuke the board, then using my actual normal summon the Wind Barrier, which was in my hand. They just looked and cried because they knew they couldn't get around the Zeus. They knew they were going to have to out the Wind Barrier before they outed the Zeus, and they knew it was just going to end badly for them. So, yeah, but yeah, so you have a little Zeus package in there, something like you would want to keep with Prosperity. Sometimes you have to sacrifice it with Extravagance, but you have a lot of outs to a lot of things. Zeus being one of them to out something like a Zombie World, which is going to be a problem that you have to deal with, so Zeus can be one of the outs. 1 Link Karibo, 1 Relinquished Anima. You have a lot of level 1, so these are the good level 1 Link monsters. We have 1 Tri-Brigade and Ferrigite. Tri-Brigade Ferrigite. Again, literally, Maximus, graveyard, add 1, put 1 back. It's just another good card. So if your opponent's playing Maximus a lot of times, you might actually want to kind of get rid of the first 2 first, and then when they go again, then you intercept away so you get as much advantage as you can. But yeah, that's what Ferrigite is there for. We have 1 Wind, the Wind Charmer, and Dark, the Dark Charmer. We play a lot of winds. There are wind cards your opponent could be playing, like a Droll, so it could be funny to then summon that out using the Wind Charmer, and then if it gets removed, you search one of your birds or one of your cards. Dark, you literally on the Link climb can go into a Link Karibo or an Anima first, and then go into your Dark Charmer, and then get something back, so there is the advantage of having Dark Charmer there. And now if it gets destroyed, worst comes to worst, you can search the DD Crow, which is kind of funny, but it shouldn't ever come to that. Then we have 1 Nightmare Unicorn. So in your Link climb, it's a good way to just out cards. So Win or Dark Charmer, Link away, Nightmare Unicorn, spin something back, 2200 monster on the field, not a bad trade. Or a Topological Trisbania. The reason I went for this is because I wanted a level 3 with good attack, so 2500, and a good effect, and it can burn your opponent. You're never really special summoning. However, you would have used a Link Karibo to make Trisbania 9 times out of 10. So that means if you're going into time, if you've gone to this point anyway, you are looking at a bad situation. So this is your kind of last hurrah. 2500 monster, it can banish spells and traps once something is special summoned to the zone it points to, and burns your opponent for 500 for each. and anything special summoned as well. So you could, in theory, normal summon any level 1 bird with a Linkuriboh on your grave, and it's one of them. You're waiting for your opponent to just fuck up in one way, that they have a big board, they haven't put the Omni Negate against. Cool, special summon, nuke back row, burn your opponent. You could win in time. It works very well, and that's kind of why TUESDAY is in there, just because, again, you don't care about your extra deck. And finally, one Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. It is not hard for you to make a lot of summons. You could easily fill a board with 5 cards, 5 monsters. If your opponent is playing a Towers-like monster, which you can't out, like a the Cyberse level 12 Synchro monster, I can't remember it for the life of me. Mathmech, the Yugioh Mathmech Final Sigma. There we go. If they play something like that, and they only have the 1 card, as long as you can kind of summon out, if they get rid of 2 cards, you have 3 still. All you need to do is normal summon once, no effect. Link all 5 cards away, so including that Yugioh Mathmech, and now you have a big Link 5 3k good effect monster, and it outs a big problematic card. So your extra deck is a toolbox that you will never have to use, because your deck should be able to control the situation, but it's there if you need it. Going into the side deck as well, I've got 1 Harpy's Feather Duster to kind of deal with back row decks, 2 Cosmic Cyclone for the same situation. Mystic Mine has been lingering around. I have ways to deal with it in main deck. However, if they're very specifically back row, like Eldritch, which is a bad matchup for me, I'd need to be able to deal with it. Same with something like Skill Drain, same with something like Zombie World. These are cards that I have to be able to deal with, because I will lose to them if I don't. I then have 3 Lightning Storms. I chose the Lightning Storms over the evenly matches because in my mindset, if I'm going second or if this is game 2, they have put in a Lancia for me if they have it. So immediately, me going straight into a evenly match is going to be met with a Lancia. And that means that not only have I just wasted a card, I am now under Lancia. So I'd rather be able to deal with the problem at hand with a Lightning Storm. If it's going to be the first blowout card that I'm going to use, I'd rather it not lose to a hand trap that's going to be sided in specifically for my deck. And that was my logic behind no evenly match, play the Lightning Storms instead. It can also, like I said, deal with a lot of problematic cards, like your Zombie World, like your Skill Drain. 3 Dark Ruler no more. If your opponent builds a board that I don't want to have to go against, so if they have a lot of monster negates, or any negates on field that are monsters, being able to slap that down, playing my turn, riser it away, barrier statue, lock them. It's a control deck, so I need to be able to play my deck. 1 Red Reboot did come up, funny enough, against a PK player. Used it against his... what did I use it against? I used it against his Fogblade. Went to Fogblade me. No, I need that effect. Red Reboot, worth it. They did kind of afterwards say, why the hell did you play a Red Reboot against me? And I said, because I know you do play trap cards and you can search the trap cards. That's why. Yeah, Red Reboot is just good to have against Eldritch, against any trap deck as well. It's just one of them toolbox cards that you should always have. 2 Harpy's Featherstorm. Again, like I said, it can be used, especially if I have the Harpy from hand. Good, like, skill drain effect for the whole, for your opponent's, all your opponent's monsters. But it was a going first card in my mind, so I wanted to be as generic and as clean as possible. However, going to be going back on that, going to try something else. And 3 Dimensional Barrier. Again, my opponents could be playing a Synchro-based deck, a Fusion-based deck, an Xyz-based deck, Ritual-based deck. I'm not playing any of them, so I'm going to be slapping down D-Barrier because it's one of them cards that you should be having in the format right now. Sorry I've been going on, guys, and I'm sorry I didn't show you the actual cards. Like I said, that's been packed away, and I'm kind of working on a new deck right now, so it'd be a lot of effort to kind of dig that deck back out, re-sleeve them around, and then get it on display where I can just go over the list that I had, that I took to Nationals. You probably are wondering, why the hell do I actually have the paperwork? Being able to use Neuron is very, very fucking handy, that I can just upload my deck profile via the Neuron app. It meant that I pre-wrote this, and then they told me, oh no, your Neuron thing has gone through. I wrote that as a backup just in case the deck profile didn't work. So, but it didn't, but it did work. So Neuron was able to work. I have my spare bit of paperwork that I can now kind of just read from and tell you guys. Obviously there will be photos as well that you have seen during the whole profile, so you can see what the monsters look like. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed the new series that's going to be coming out from next Yugi Tuesday. Peace.